All right, we're ready for chapter 10 in Jigsaw Jones, The Confession. I sat by the window watching the world roll past. Eddie was in his usual spot, joking with Bobby Solosky and Mike Radcliffe. He wore the same identical baseball shirt. Only today I noticed something different. He had an old ink stain on his shoulder. I thought about Biggs Maloney's twin brother, Harry and Larry. I thought about Grams and how the outside of something didn't always tell you what was inside. And suddenly knew how Eddie Becker pulled off the crime. The bus dropped us off at school. We still had a few minutes before class. "Hey, Jigsaw," Eddie called out. "You owe me $1. He held out his paw. "Pay up." A few kids gathered around, Mila, Bobby, Biggs, and Kim Lewis. I didn't reach into my pocket. "You seem pretty happy for a guy who lost his best baseball cards," I said. Eddie let that one pass. "Pay up," he repeated. I turned to Biggs. "Hey, Biggs," I said, "you even notice how Eddie always wears the same shirt? Tell me, what kind of guy would wear the same old smelly shirt day after day?" Eddie shifted on his feet. "Doesn't your mother ever wash that thing?" I asked him. "You don't know anything," Eddie said. "I have 2 of the exact same shirts. When one is in the wash, I wear the clean one." It was just as I thought, except one shirt had an ink stain on the shoulder, right? Eddie looked at the stain. "So?" Eddie looked at so, I said, "you've got 2 shirts that look alike. No big deal. Biggs has 2 brothers who look alike. It happens. Except I figured you've got 2 big binders that look alike, don't you, Eddie?" Eddie's face turned pale. "Yesterday you brought 2 blue binders to school, didn't you?" I asked. I held up 2 fingers. "Not 1 binder, Eddie. 2. What's he getting at? What does he think? Yeah, he thinks that Biggs has his cards, his stolen, lost cards, in one of them. Eddie turned to leave. "You're crazy." A large hand with a grip of a grizzly fell on Eddie's shoulder. "Not so fast," Biggs Maloney said. "Yeah, Eddie," Kim Lewis said, "not so fast." Eddie looked at our faces, scared and silent. He was caught, and he knew it. 1 binder had cards, I said. "You made sure to show them to everybody. Then you made the switch. I figure you had an empty blue binder in your backpack. It was a nice trick, Eddie, especially when you put away the empty binder in the closet for everyone to see. Real smooth." "And the phony note," I said. "That was a nice touch. You had me fooled for a while. Is that true, Eddie?" Biggs asked. Eddie nodded, and he hung his head. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm really, really sorry. It's just, well, I love those cards so much." Chapter 11. The Phantom Strikes Again. Mila gave him a high five. "Jigsaw, that was awesome." "Thanks," I mumbled. Even Kim Lewis patted me on the back. "Nice work, Detective." Kim wasn't mad at us anymore. Miss Gleason and Eddie talked quietly in the hallway. For a long time, none of us could hear a word, and believe me, we tried. When they came back, Eddie looked almost happy, and Miss Gleason was back to her smiling self. "Okay, boys and girls," Miss Gleason said, clapping her hands. "I can't wait to see those banners." By the end of the day, room 201 looked like my backyard on laundry day. Our banners dangled from 2 long ropes stretched across the classroom. They were hung with clothespins. We loved it. Now room 201, Miss Gleason said, was all about us. After school, I bicycled with Biggs Maloney to Eddie Becker's house. It was back pay time. Walking into Eddie's room was like entering the Baseball Hall of Fame. There was a big poster of Mark McGuire, plus hundreds of baseball pictures cut out from magazines. Eddie had baseball bed sheets, baseball trophies, baseball books, even a baseball garbage can. Eddie had hundreds of cards, filling neatly in storage boxes. Those were his commons, the ones that weren't worth much. He kept his best cards in plastic card guards, stored in 3-ring binders. I didn't waste time. I told Eddie exactly what I wanted. He was thrilled. Eddie happily gave me 4 quarters and my pick from his commons. I chose 1. It's not worth anything, Eddie pointed out. He's just a backup catcher, and the card's not in real great shape. I looked at the card. On the bottom, it read Boston Red Sox. I slid it into my pocket. Maybe not a collector, I said, but it will be worth something to a friend of mine. Who's he thinking about giving it to? Biggs, meanwhile, picked out Eddie's most prized treasure, a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. Poor Eddie looked like someone had just drowned his cat. Biggs studied the card, read all the facts and stats. He looked at poor miserable Eddie Becker. I can't take this from you, Biggs said. Well, what? Eddie said. I can't take it, Biggs said. You love it too much. He handed the card back to Eddie. He stood there amazed. But you still owe me one thing, Biggs said. He jabbed a thick finger at Eddie's chest. Sure, Eddie said. Anything. Biggs winked at me. Good, he told him. Eddie, let's wrestle. Then Biggs pounced. Wham! I left the room to the sound of Eddie's moans and groans. I heard Biggs Maloney scream, Pinned! The red phantom trumps again. Get up, Eddie, Biggs urged. Let's wrestle again. I was happy to wrap up another case. I hopped on my bike. First I had to drop off 50 cents at Mila's house. She deserved it. Without her help, I would have never solved the case. Then I had to find Grams. I had a present for her. It was just a common baseball card, but I knew it would make her smile. And that was worth more to me than money. So that is the end of Jigsaw Jones in the Case of the Mystery Stolen Baseball Cards. So did you know, were you predicting that when he took that Boston Red Sox common card, it wasn't really for him? He was giving it to his grandma. Why? Because she loved the Boston Red Sox. All right, everybody. See you next time.